Hello students, let us start our new session of chapter number 2, Units and Measurements.
Now, here we want to measure the time. In earlier two sessions, we carried out the measurement of length, and in next session, we define the measurement of mass of the object. Now, we want to measure the time. Generally, to get the time value, we are using clock, watch, stopwatch, pendulum system like this. But here, if we want to maintain that time or whatever the time is defined for the India, if we want to make it in a standard form, for that we are using that atomic standard of time is provided. It's based on vibration of atom, and here we are using cesium atom. So this standard time can be maintained by cesium clock, that is also known as atomic clock. Here this cesium 133 atom we are utilizing, we are providing a vibration between two layers. And the number of vibrations are available, that is in terms of giga, 10 raised to 9 times. That will provide you or maintain the time duration. Its stability is available as compared to the crystal quartz. So here the balance and the proper vibrations must be there. It's supposed not to be reduced in between. Oscillations must be maintained continuously for this many number of times. Let us understand how this atomic structure will work. As you can see in the diagram, cesium oven is there, through which these cesium particles are radiated into this tube, into this structure. Now, these radiations are passing through the magnets. Here, that is a constant magnetic field is provided, which gives the direction to move that cesium particles at the end of the tube. Now, these particles are passing through the cavity, microwave cavity. Here this microwave cavity it is utilizing because microwave frequency is available also in terms of 10 raised to 9 gigahertz. And this is what the number of times vibration we require. So to maintain that frequency within this cavity, from its top part through the oscillator, this particular frequency is provided to it. Now, that cesium atoms are moving further through magnets to the detector. Detector detect that vibration for the number of times the come forward, backward oscillations are there, and this detected result is going to be compared for the feedback path from the servo mechanism. So for that particular feedback path, oscillator frequency and detected frequency is going to be compared. As error is 0, if it is provided the same number of times oscillations, which able to maintain our time duration. And as you can see onto the digital display, this procedure, this working principle provide you the resolution up to the 13 digits after decimal point. So here the resolution is available in terms of 10 raised to minus 13. Here, whatever the variation can be available, that is a 1 microsecond in a year. I repeat, the deviation can be available, that is 1 microsecond in a year, which is tolerable, which is acceptable. So here we able to get this time duration by the 10 raised to 9 times oscillation. So for that the microwave frequency is going to be used with crystal oscillator, because crystal oscillator is the device which provides the oscillations constantly without deviation, and that magnetic field will be separate out the atoms and detected through the detector. So here the peak is used to measure the slight correction necessary to bring the crystal oscillator and microwave field through that feedback portion. So this gives a 1 pulse per second. This atomic clock is available in India at National Physical Laboratory, New Delhi, which maintain Indian Standard of Time IST. This atomic clock is utilized everywhere in the world to maintain their standard time. Clear, everybody? So this is how the atomic clock is utilized to maintain this particular time duration. Now let us focus the time span or the time intervals. That maximum time interval is available, that is age of universe, that is in terms of 10 raised to 17 second, and minimum time interval or the duration is available, that is a lifespan of unstable particle, that is in terms of 10 raised to minus 24 second. That is what the maximum and minimum time duration is given. Here if we observe, then ratio of longest length and shortest length we are having in terms of 10 raised to 14.1. Now if we take the ratio of time of from longest to shortest time, that also gives the ratio 10 raised to 14. Likewise, if take the ratio of masses of the object largest to smallest, then it provides 10 raised to 11 raised to 2. Here all these quantities are not related to each other. This is not this is irrelevant with each other, but still we are getting a common ratio over here. Right? Clear for the measurement of time? Now let us move further for the next topic, that accuracy, precision of instrument and error in instrument. Basically, first, what is error? Here, while we do any calculation based on any standard theorem, this theorem gives us a proper steps to follow for that calculation. That calculated result is the ideal one, and while we are going to measure this quantity by the experiment, then this measured quantity can slightly differ from that calculated ideal result. While we get that difference is known as error. So here, to measure that value, 2 points we need to take in care: accuracy and precision. Then what is accuracy? Accuracy is the measurement. Accuracy of measurement is the measure that how close the measured value we are having to that calculated value, ideal value. And precision defines the resolution or limit of that quantity that which we are going to measure. And this precision or the resolution we can define after decimal points, how much numbers we are going to consider. For example, if we measure any value we are having, calculated value, for example, that is 3.678 centimeter. Now, while we measure this value practically by some experiment, if we are taking its resolution up to one digit after decimal point, that is minimum resolution can be 0.1 centimeter, then we able to measure this value, for example 3.5 centimeter. And if we keep its resolution after decimal point up to 2 digits, it means up to 0.01 centimeter. By that resolution amount, if we are getting any value through the experiment, then this measured value we can get, for example, 3.38 centimeter. So while we compare this, in first, if the resolution is less, but still we are getting more accurate value that is near to that calculated value. And in second case, resolution is higher but accuracy is less. So this is how we can define accuracy and resolution. This error, this generated error, we can divide in two major parts: systematic error and random error. Let us understand what is a systematic error. Systematic errors are those errors which tend to move in a particular one direction, either positive or negative. For example, let us take voltmeter. If voltmeter we switch on and we have not yet connected to measure any value, still it will display some 0.001 millivolt value. So this is what this error produced by the device. So while we connect that voltmeter to measure that voltage value, so this error is always going to be added. So this addition of the error, that is positive. If error which minimize our value by the same amount, which is what the negative error. So this systematic error can be positive, can be negative, but by one device, it must be in a particular one, either it follow the positive or negative. Here we can classify this systematic error in three parts: instrumental error, imperfection in experimental technique or procedure, and personal error. Let us understand first instrumental error. Instrumental error is based on the error produced by that instrument device while we measure that value. So initially it should be 0. Ideally its value initially it would be displayed as a 0. But practically, as we take the example of voltmeter, if while we switch on it and it will display 1 millivolt, then this is what the instrumental error is there. Same way, if we take the vernier calipers, onto the vernier calipers, one scale is fixed, another scale, this is what we can move it, and this scale which is moving, over that 0 mark is there. This 0 mark must be aligned in a proper point with that fixed scale. If it cannot align properly in a straight line, then this is what the error is produced by that vernier calipers. That is the instrumental error. Other way we also can get it through the thermometer. If the thermometer we are using to measure the temperature of boiling water, it's supposed to display 100 degrees Celsius. But if it will give you a 104 degrees Celsius, then there is a 4 degree of error is produced by that thermometer. So this is how instrumental error can be there. Next is imperfection in experimental technique or procedure. Here, while we are going to determine any value, we have to follow certain steps. We have to make some of the parameter with proper value which is required. So to measure any value, whatever the technique we supposed to follow or whatever the procedure we supposed to follow, these ideal steps have to maintain. But if that technique or the procedure is not maintained properly, then error can be produced. For example, if we use thermometer, the temperature given by the thermometer is different if we keep it in armpit or if we keep it below our tongue. So this, both the way, different temperature can be defined. This is what the procedure fault. That is what the imperfection procedure we utilizing. Here, this external condition also can be affected during that measurement, during this experiment. Can be a temperature variation, humidity variation, likewise. For example, if any procedure or if any experiment we need to follow at room temperature, but in summer days the actual room temperature is generally higher than the normal required one. So in that manner, the measured data can be varying. This is what the procedure error can be present. Next is personal error. As we have discussed a parallax method to measure the longer distance, in which we are supposed to focus the particular object from two different directions. So here, if person wise that AB base distance is going to be vary, then the measured distance between two objects, long distance, can be varying. For example, if we take the example of vernier calipers, while we want to get the reading, that proper alignment of zero scale from that fixed scale, we have to focus it from its top. But instead of by focus it properly, if we get the reading by some angle, then measured value can be different. So this is what the human error, that we have not seen it properly and the different value can be available. So this is how the human error or personal error can be defined, can be present based on the observations taken by the different persons. Even though a single person taking a measurement for number of times, then all the number of times the measured data can be slightly differ. That is also what? A personal error. Clear? Now this systematic errors can be minimized by improving a proper technique, by considering a proper variable data, selecting a better instrument, or from the human, it's supposed to be taking data properly. It can be minimized. We cannot say the error always can be zero, but yes, by focusing properly, by taking a proper technique, error, this can be minimized. Clear up to this thing, everyone? So here we are going to end this session. Hope you understood. Thank you.